Yes, good morning, and thank you, GOPIO, for having us on this beautiful panel. And it is so amazing to connect with Lord Parekh and taking a moment to think and connect back to our roots, where we came from. And even after years and years of spending out here in North America, you still feel that, yes, you've had that Indian origin, and you're able to now, with the added qualifications, help new immigrants to achieve their goals to settle in North America, although it just keeps giving us new challenges every single day. I also give my tribute to Michael Fulwani ji. I have worked and I met him for a brief time in final years when he was just retiring from his work. I don't think he officially ever retired, but yes, when he was just slowing down, I had the privilege of meeting him, and what a kind soul he was, truly aspiring and encouraging young people to follow their dreams and young lawyers to uh, continue serving their country and continue to serve the immigration goals for various people from various origins. And yes, you're right. I work with NPC's law office that's placed in Mississauga. It's an outskirts of Toronto area in Ontario. And I practice immigration law primarily, with also focusing on corporate law and employment law. With all the changes in US, it directly affects our Canadian immigration as well. But just before I go forward with that, I'll just put a word also about the Indian and Canadian relationships. So India and Canada, they had a rough relation for some time, but with our recent G7 summit in Alberta, in June of last month, there was the sideline talks that happened between Prime Minister Carney and Prime Minister Modi, which we see it as a very promising sign of moving forward with a positive relation, having our high commissions back in Toronto and back in India as well. So we look forward that those discussions and those sideline discussions would help India and Canada to achieve some of the economic goals, as well as on the immigration side, helping the processing of the applications and visa adjudications much faster and clearer. Back to the US, yes, anything that happens in the US is surely to impact our immigration. So there have been changes internally, externally as well. Outside, we have our borders more secured. Canada is working towards getting the border security, having more equipment, having more canines, etc., lodged on the borders. Now, to do that, to facilitate that, the CBSA, which is the primary department that's responsible for cross-border, CBSA, Canada Border Service Agency, they are now asked not to focus on immigration aspect, but only on the cross-border, which includes any of the criminal convictions that if anybody had in the past, they cannot come easily into Canada. There are no ways that there'll be deeper screening of such individuals. We also see that now they will not be doing, which we had a privilege of using these services called flag polling, which has now been stopped. CBS is not going to do any immigration applications. Flag polling was anybody who could leave Canada, re-enter, and get their immigration applications adjudicated at the border. So now those applications are not being done by CBSA anymore. Their focus primarily is only on border security and stopping any illegal immigration into Canada or any other kind of criminal activities. We also see a strong border act that our government has introduced. It's still tabled on the for any final for finalization, but we see that the Strong Border Act is also in response to the US putting pressure on Canada how to secure the borders and stop any infiltrations. Now, with the Strong Border Act, they are asking, Canada is proposing to have, again, the CBSA with stronger rights and having them as the adjudicating officer to stop any illegal migration into the country right at the border. Asylum cases are being more scrutinized, and they'll be more streamlined to process. Now, we get this question all the time where anybody who has uh, submitted their asylum case in the US, can they come now to Canada and apply for asylum? And the answer is no, because of the act, or because of the relationship between US and Canada, where they've made it very clear that anybody who has applied for asylum in US cannot now go to another country, which is cannot go to now Canada and apply for asylum all over again. So those are the cases. Another part that we see is trans Americans. Get those questions again on routine basis, where anybody who is into they don't fall into a male and female gender definition. They are now looking to immigrate to Canada. We have some of the options for them, but we do tell they could also be applying for on the basis of humanitarian and compassionate ground, where they are emotionally, they are affected with this kind of definition and with this kind of an uh, executive order, where they cannot use their rights into the third form of or different form beyond male and female gender. We also, next, we are seeing a lot of internal changes within our country, where we recently had our immigration plan, and where now the government has put a cap on temporary workers or temporary immigrants coming into Canada. Now, this includes temporary foreign workers as well as international students. So the capping is to 5% of the population, Canada's population. So only 5% of the applicants, in contrast to Canadian population, would be the capping factor or the capping number that will allow uh, foreign workers or international students coming into Canada. Uh, Beyond that, we see that international students, there has been huge change. Uh, they are now have to go through a more vetting process as well. Financial stability is taken into consideration, and their education field is also considered very closely. Uh, Canada has few categories which relates to work, which relates to education field, healthcare, French. If you are one of these, if you're pursuing your studies into one of these categories, then it makes it preferable for IRCC to adjudicate your application. Uh, Besides international students, we're seeing foreign workers. They are being more again. There is a vetting process. Um, Internally, what Canada is doing, they don't want too many foreign workers, because they see that there is a huge dependency on their health services, which is free, even for the foreign workers or international students. And they also see that housing is a big problem. So because they cannot manage, or they see that there's an overwhelming use of these services, that's one of the reasons that now the immigration plan has stopped in taking infinite number of temporary workers or international students. But this was just recently introduced about less than a month ago. The problem with, again, Canadian immigration is that they don't give too much time for anyone to make any changes to their application or to file their application, because most of these regulations, when introduced, they are stopped the same day. So not much time is given for anyone to review what kind of immigration path they want to make in Canada. Uh, Besides uh, the permanent residency path, we see that international students were mainly motivated because they assumed that with immigrating to Canada, they will be able to uh, also apply for permanent residency. But that path has also closed, or it has become very difficult to obtain unless you are pursuing your bachelor's, a full-time 4-year program, or a master's, PhD, etc. Uh, Another part where immigrants would be interested would be provincial nominee programs, which is unique in Canada. Every province allows certain number of immigrants to come and fulfill certain positions for occupations in demand, and they could be coming into, if they meet these criteria, then they could be applying for certain jobs in those specific occupations. So we see, and for with that, Canada wants to encourage lesser known provinces such as Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, etc., where immigrants could come and settle and help the local community. Um, Otherwise, most of the pressure we see in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. These are the cities that most of the immigrants would love to come and settle, but now they want to encourage new immigrants to come and settle in these lesser known provinces. So there are changes both internally and externally. The good part is that, yes, if you want to invest, that investor visa option is still open in Canada. And we see a lot of our clients who want to now move their business to Canada and work cross border. But we just have to see, with more and more announcements being made in the US, how that is a possibility for anyone to be shifting their business or even parking their business for some time in Canada. Uh, these are some of the issues. What we face also at coming back to the border are also about the criminal rehabs, where anybody who's had any charges, criminal convictions, etc., they still had an option to apply for a temporary resident permit at the border, but not anymore. The officers fully ask you to leave, apply online with the authorities, and then try entering Canada with the approvals. So yes, lot of vetting and lot of pressure that comes from US to Canada, but these are a lot of issues that keep evolving, and we keep looking at it, how we can help to restore and give them a entire landscape between US and Canada, how there could be options that could help our clients to settle whether in US or in Canada. Over to you, Professor Maya.